Welcome you all to Chef Talk Tuesday with Chef Veronica. I want to thank you all for going on this journey with me. I truly, truly appreciate it. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. so you can get some tips to learn how to be effective in your kitchen. A lot of people ask me the question on numerous occasions, how do you do it? It seems like a lot of work. And you know what? It could be a lot of work. And a lot of work come in when you don't prepare. So I want to talk to you a little bit about preparing and setting the tone for you to start your cooking process. That's whether you're a caterer, a chef, or if you're just cooking at home for your family. And what we call this in the culinary world is mise en place. That's a French word for planning, being organized, and having everything that you need in the kitchen to get started cooking your special dish that you want to cook. So let's start there. Now, what do I mean when I say planning to cook? So here it is. You have this awesome recipe that you want to cook for your family tonight for dinner. Or let's say you have a catering job where you're operating as a personal chef, or you have an event where you're cooking for 20, 25 people. Doesn't matter. The first thing you want to do is look at your recipe and identify all the things that you're going to need in order to effectively cook your meal. So you're looking at this recipe, and this recipe says you need a sauteing pan, you need a pot, you need a cutting board, you need a chef knife. You have to make sure that you have all of those items. Have those items out on the counter. If you know, so let's say today is Monday and you know that you're cooking this dish on Tuesday, to cut back on some of the time, what I do is I take all of those things out of the cabinet and I put them on the counter so I can have those things in the morning, so it's not an extra step that I have to do. So now you have all of those things, not to mention your grocery list that you're going to have all the ingredients that you need to purchase from the store. However, before you go out to the store, what I would suggest that you do is go into your pantry and see what items do you already have. For example, if the recipe calls for salt, sea salt, kosher salt, check your pantry to see if you have those items. If you need regular pepper, check to see if you have those items. So those are some of the things that you want to do to be able to effectively move through your kitchen and move through your recipe where it's not a burden to you to cook the dish that you're looking to cook. I have a lot of people that say they'll look at recipes and it look like the recipe is so involved. Yeah, a lot of recipes do become a little involved, but if you're planning ahead of time, it won't seem as such. So now here it is. You have to cut up a bell pepper, you have to cut up an onion, and maybe you need some celery. What I would suggest that you do, cut those items up the day before. Put them in a bowl, seal them, cover them with plastic wrap, then put a securing piece of foil over top, and sit them in your refrigerator. Measure those items out. If it calls for 1 cup, measure out 1 cup. Have those things already prepared. That's what you do when you want to make sure that you're effective cooking and you're not ripping and running, and you want to make sure that your dish comes out well, and not to mention you take out all the guessing work. Now this little plan of action, the mise en place, that can actually work across the board in your whole life if you plan and you be organized in all the things that you're doing. So let's say you have you need chicken. So chicken is part of this dish. I would say clean and trim the chicken the day before, or early on that morning before you do it. If you're using the chicken stripped up, do that as well. Another key that I want to give you is, if you allow your chicken to be semi-frozen before you start trimming it and cutting it, it cuts and it trims much easier because you don't have to worry about the density of the chicken going in when you're cutting, and you have to hold it in place and all of those things. So that's another key that you can use when you have to cut up chicken. That could be beef. That could pretty much be anything. If you leave it semi-frozen in order to trim it, it'll work for you just like that. So the tip that I want you all to take today is plan out your recipe. Have all of the items that you need already in the kitchen ready to go. Have those items measured out. I tell you, it will cut back on so much work that you would find it as a breeze. You'll even find yourself cooking even more. So I want to give you a recipe. Have you ever been cooking a dish or just at home? I'm just talking about at home now, not a catering job or anything like that. You're at home, you want to add a little flair to a dish. You're thinking, oh, let me add a glaze, or let me sear this meat. Let me do something different to give my family a little spark in their dish that they're going to have for today. Here's the thing that you can do. I'm going to tell you how you can create your own glaze according to the flavor that you like. So if you like pineapple, if you like peaches, all you have to do is get a preserve of your flavor. Take that preserve. You'll need 1 cup of the preserve. You'll need a ½ cup of white wine. That white wine could be any wine that you have in the house, as long as it's white. You'll need 2 tablespoons or 3 tablespoons. You kind of give or take, but I usually go with 2. 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard with Chardonnay in it. Get you 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 2 garlic cloves. Now, how you're going to do that, you're going to chop up the garlic. You're going to mince it, which is very, very fine because almost invisible when it's in the dish. So you're going to mince your garlic. Then you're going to take your olive oil. You're going to put it in a sauteing pan, and you're actually going to cook it a little bit until you smell the aroma. Once you smell that, you want to pour your white wine right on top of it. That's called deglazing your pan, so you can get all of the good food off the bottom of the pan that you're going to have as part of your glaze. Then you're going to add your preserve and just let it simmer a little bit to where it starts bubbling. Once you get that, then you add all your other ingredients. Then you have your glaze of your flavor. Put it to the side, let it sit, and allow it to cool. And then once your chicken is done, or your fish, or your beef, or your turkey, all of those items, once that's done, then you can brush it on to your meat. And there you have your special glaze. So keep that recipe. I will be posting that on our site so you can actually write it down and have it for yourself. But just remember, the key is finding the flavor that you like. You may even be in the store and see one that you're not really familiar with, a mango, a habanero. Hey, get it, try it out, and just add that white wine, the garlic, the Dijon mustard, and all those items, and you'll be just fine. And you'll find yourself finding a love for your kitchen and loving to cook for your family. Thank you for tuning in to Chef Talk Tuesday with Chef Veronica. I'm so glad you're here. And remember, presentation is everything.